Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm here to give you 5 things which I believe we learned from the game against Norwich where Luton lost 4-2 away from home. But before I tell you those 5 things, let me tell you what came out on social media today. Anna Nixon, the Sun reporter, has basically come out and said that if Luton was to sack Rob Edwards from that 4-year contract, it would only cost 1.5 million. Now 1.5 million in today's market is not a lot of money anymore, and I feel like we can easily afford 1.5 million pounds. We made a lot of money in the summer. We of course have more Premier League money coming our way from those parachute payments, so it's something which we can easily afford. And right now, as Edwards has, I feel like, has done everything he can to try and change things, I feel like a new voice is now 100% needed. Following on from the players' body language against Norwich, I feel like that decision should be a lot easier. But the board do back Edwards, but if they want to make that decision, it's only going to cost 1.5 million in terms of sacking Edwards. Of course, hiring a new manager and coaching staff will also cost money, but in reality, I do think this is a decision that is needed to do now. We need to make a decision quickly. A new manager needs to have a January transfer window. If we don't sack Edwards by January, then I feel like Edwards will be the manager throughout the remaining of the season. But technically, now this has been reported, fans will be on the board a lot more now, which I don't really like, but I feel like right now we've got to make a bold decision, and that is, I think, to depart ways with Edwards before it gets worse. He gave us a very special day out at Wembley. He gave us a very special Premier League season. I don't want him to be known for all the bad stuff that's happening this year. It's not fair on him. So I want to depart ways in the nicest way possible, and I feel like now it's the right time to do it. But anyway, let's get on with today's video, and let me tell you the first thing which I think we learnt from the game against Norwich, and that was what Edwards came out and said after the game. He basically said players are on their final chance now. Now, in my opinion, personally, players should already be on their last chance. They've been underperforming since the start of the season. And the players which I think are on their final warning is Menji, Chong and McGuinness. Menji, I think, has been inconsistent since the start of the season. He's still young and he's still developing and learning, but I still think at times he's been underperforming. Chong, we've seen too many mistakes from him in particular. Been too weak at times, and he also came off at half-time against Norwich after a poor first 45 minutes. He was playing out of position, but he was still poor regardless. And I don't think McGuinness has hit the ground running. Too many inconsistent performances from himself. I do feel sorry for him because I do think he's come in at Luton at a horrible time, but still, the performances have not been there. But with Edwards saying that these players are on their final chance, if I'm being honest with you, Edwards, you're still picking these group of players. You're still picking the same starting 11. So why don't you make these bold decisions now? What else have you got to lose? Stop giving players more chances and make these bold decisions. Why don't you make a bold decision and start Joe Taylor from the start? Or give Pelly a run of games in the side. I feel like players like those two in particular haven't done anything wrong, and that I believe they need more opportunities. You know, it can't get any worse, surely. So let's start giving players more opportunities. But anyway, moving on to what I believe we also learned from the game against Norwich, and that was how good Hashi was. Now, in my opinion, I thought Hashi done an extremely good job at keeping one of the best players in the Championship in Sainz quiet. Now, Sainz did score Norwich's 4th goal where the game was pretty much dead and buried. Confidence was at an all-time low. But prior to the 4th goal, I thought Hashi kept Sainz extremely quiet, and he actually absolutely frustrated him. He won a lot of tackles, he won his aerial battles as well, interceptions, clearances. He had a really good solid job. And also his passing ability, I looked at the passing stats, was a lot better than what he's been averaging over the course of the season. He managed to get 70% passing ability. Of course 70% is not good enough still, it needs to be a bit better. His average is 67%, so 3% better than what he's averaging over the course of the season, but it was better. Small improvements is what I'm trying to find positives here, and I thought it was a bit better. What I want going forward from Hashi is him to be stronger in ground battles, in ground duels, because I do think he gets knocked off the ball far too easily. I do think he is a bit lightweight, but more importantly, I want him to go forward a bit more and use that attacking qualities which he has. Now, I looked at his crossing stats and the chances he creates. At the moment, they're quite good, but they're only quite good because he hasn't done it that often compared to other players in his position. He needs to do it a lot more. I want to see him bomb down that right-hand side a lot more frequently. During our promotion season, both of our wing-backs were running up and down the pitch. We've got athletic wing-backs, so I want to be seeing Hashi attacking down that right-hand side more. When I was looking at highlights from Hashi when we first signed him, that's what he was known for, attacking down that right hand side. So I do want to see it more, but right now we're being a bit too cautious. It's understandable because we're not playing well and we need to grind out results, but I want to see that attacking threat from him. Moving on to the third thing which I believe we learned from the game against Norwich, and that is we struggle to make good decisions when under pressure. Both goals which Norwich scored against us, it was just so bad. The first goal, Amari Bell losing the ball, he had so many opportunities to clear the ball away, and then Tedemenji in the same play heads the ball back into danger. Thomas comes out and basically palms it into danger. We just don't clear our lines. We have plenty of opportunities to do it, and then Norwich scored. Norwich's second goal, Chong obviously shielding the ball to go out of play. He doesn't do a good job at all. If he needs to make the correct decision there, he doesn't. Player plays it, across goal, and it's 2-1 to Norwich. Clear the ball away. Just do the simple things right. If you're not confident in yourself to do it, clear it out for a throw-in. Be a lot smarter, or simply be stronger. Learn to be stronger. Now, I know players, that's something they may not be able to do. If you can't be stronger, you be smarter. That's all. You can pick one or two. You can do that. But yeah, under pressure, we just simply cannot do it. But anyway, moving on to the fourth thing which I believe we learnt from the game against Norwich. And I thought, despite the criticism he's had over the course of the season, I thought Clark had a really good game. I really did. His passing was a lot better compared to previous games so far this season. He averages 80% passing ability, which is very poor for championship midfielders to have that passing ability. In today's game, he had an 83% passing ability, so that's 3% better than what he averages, so it was a lot better. He also got an assist from the corner. Baptiste put the ball into the back post. Clark, and then obviously, plays it back into the centre, and Brown was there to obviously, tap it home, and that puts us back into the game. But he was part of the second goal, but he was also part of the first goal. Now, I watched the first goal back, and if it weren't for him pressing, Norwich don't lose the ball. So the fact that he managed to press and he caused the mistake with the back pass, Elijah was able to obviously take full advantage of that and then score the first goal for us. So he actually contributed to both goals. One without really touching the ball and one with touching the ball. So I thought it was important to highlight that. He also won a lot of tackles. He won the most tackles in the game from both sides. He won 5 out of 6 tackles, and he won all of these ground battles. Now, when I was talking about Hashi, how he needs to be a lot stronger when he's battling with any player on the pitch, Clark's very good. And you think Clark's a small player. He isn't. I would say he's probably roughly the same size as Hashi, but yet Clark knows how to win the battles. Maybe that's experience, I'm not too sure, but he wins all his ground duels. So that's something which is important to mention. And I thought he had a really good game. I just wish, players looked at Clark yesterday and thought, right, we need to be performing as good as he is, because we will end up winning the game, but of course they didn't. And then I just want to end the video on talking about our goalkeeper. Now, Thomas, he gets a lot of praise, and rightly so, because he does make so many good saves. But everything else about his game is now starting to really frustrate me. I think he needs to be a little bit more clever. Now, there was one particular moment in the game where Morris and Elijah, both literally from the attacking half, ran over to Thomas and had a go at him because he wasn't doing the right thing. He wasn't, you know, clearing the ball centrally to them. And his kicking does my head in. No way should he be kicking it out of play, kicking it out wide. He should be kicking it centrally. And what needs to happen is when he does kick it centrally, our midfielders need to be a lot closer to our strikers, because if we're hoping our strikers win the battles and win those ground battles, after they've won the ball from, you know, getting launched at them 80 yards in the air, they need to be, you know, playing off each other, need to be playing off the midfield. But they can't do that if our goalkeeper's kicking the ball out of play. There's a lot of times as well where we're under pressure and just making that smart decision. He's rushing kicks, not kicking centrally, and we're just losing the ball. And when you're already under that pressure and you're not keeping the ball, kicking it out of play isn't exactly what we need right now. And I also feel like he does not command his area well enough at all. Like I mentioned in Norwich's first goal, he palms it into danger. There's no, like, I don't think he even communicates with his defenders, which worries me. In fact, I've noticed that since he came at the football club, he doesn't communicate. And I'm starting to get uneasy with him. There's no denying he's shot ability, but communication, you know, commanding your area, your kicking, it needs to get better. Is it going to get better at a 32-year-old goalkeeper? I'm not too sure, but he's too quiet, and he needs to, I feel like, just needs to be a little bit smarter. Like, take a time, just realise what you're doing, and don't be a little bit rational, you know. But I feel like that's just what he is, and this is what we're going to get with him. But there's no denying he's a great shot stopper. But anyway, that is the end of the video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video if you did. Let me know what you learned down in the comment section. Subscribe if you're new. And yeah, I'm going to try and figure out what tomorrow's video is going to be. But hopefully it could be a lot more positive than today's one.